what I was going to talk to y'all about, would I do things different today than I used to do? Yes. The first thing I was going to tell you I'd include more God. I would pray in my business. I was talking to Ray Steely, and he had decided you can pray for problems, or you can pray for a future. Okay, you're trying to get yourself out of a mess, or you can pray for the future. And what Ray had figured out, he said he started praying for his business, and he started praying for them to bring him the right people to recruit, the right clients. And when he got one, then they walked through the door. He had thanked God for them. Thank you for bringing them. And that thanking God, I mean, everybody likes thanks, right? If somebody thank you for doing something, you're going to do it again. God's that way too. So anyway, give God the credit. Give God the credit. I didn't give him credit much back during those days. I'd say I did this and I did that, and I want to correct that. I would not have the ability to do what I did if God wasn't watching over me and keep me healthy and keep me going and keep my mind in the right direction and all that. So God's a big part. It started out. I'm gonna cover this with you real quick. It's recruiting how to create RVPs. Once you got to decide, the highest position they had at that time was a SVP, and me and Scott were in so much money troubles from everything we had that we decided that we had to a little bit of money wouldn't fix our business. I mean, we couldn't sell our way out of it. You know, we had to have a big group to make a bunch of money. I mean, it was $500,000 in 90-day notes. And probably $3 million in real estate, and the real estate market was going to crap in handbaskets. So because of that, we decided we had to go for. Anyway, I went for SVP, and me and Scott both did, and made it there in like 2 years. You know, and back then you had to have 6 RVPs, and the requirements were a little harder than they are now. But that's neither here nor there. But anyway, what I was going to tell you, my awakening. I'd been in the business about 3 months. I'd made it to district, and I thought I'd done something, because the district back then you had to have 3 sales leaders, had 3 people under each one of them, and I'd done that. And I thought, man, I thought I'm going good. And they brought a guy into town called Mike Smith, and he showed up. And when he showed up, he was talking about he'd been in the business the same length of time I had. He was under Ronnie and them, and I said, and he talked about he had 250 people under him in 3 months and was going to RVP. And after he talked, and I'm going to tell you a little bit what he said, and after he talked, I went up to him and he said, what level are you at? I said, man, you started at the same time. He said, what level are you at? And I said, a district. And he said, oh, okay. And he turned around and went and talked to somebody else. He wouldn't give me the time of day. Well, I got mad. And back then they called it a mad on. And I decided I was going to beat his butt. And 2 years later, I beat his butt. But anyway, don't never shun anybody, no matter what level you are, no matter who they are. Talk to them. They deserve your time. Okay. This is what he showed me. Most people just hire 3 people, right? 1, 2, 3. And the first one here, number one, we got number 2 and number 3. And you think, okay, they said hire 3 people. That's what I did. This one can't pass the test, okay? This one wants to work part-time, and this one's having to get tested and everything before they even start. So that's your 3 it's going to take you to the top, right? No, that's the problem. You think 3 is going to do it. It's just like anything. 25% of the people was going to be after it, okay? So what he showed, he said he hired 10, okay? And we went across here and hired 10, okay? So he hired number 4, number 5, number 6, number 7, number 8, number 9, and number 10. And what happens, somebody said don't show anything. I don't know what they're typing anyway. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You hire those 10, okay? This one decides to go, okay? So you get this one to go. They're ready. This one went back home. The wife or husband told them they couldn't do it. So that's because they didn't come to the meeting, didn't bring 2 of them together when you showed it. Then this one decided they're going to do it. Of those 10, 4 of them decided to get going. So the next thing he showed, he would go 4 deep in the leg. In other words, he hired one person. This is you, okay? And he would go and hire Tom. And then Tom would go and hire, then he'd go with Tom to go hire Jim. And then he'd go with Jim and go hire Joe. And then he'd go hire with Joe and he'd hire Mitchell. And then he'd go with Mitchell and he'd go hire Mike. Now, what I was going to tell you is this is what happens, okay? It's called 4 deep. All good things come from depth: gold, oil, and RVPs, okay? And I came up with some stuff God gave me that helps this, okay? The first thing he showed me was that this is, you go 4 deep, okay? And in 4 deep, you, the first thing you do, there's a couple of things you can do to make this better. Get in the market, 25, 45, married, home, kids, and middle income. And the reason they say that is because if they're married, they need our products, okay? And they have friends that need our products. If they're homeowners, they need our products, you know. And if they got kids, that means they can tolerate people. And if you're not in the market, hire some people in the market, okay? That's what Scott did. Scott was not in the market, and he made it. But if you're going to do investment stuff and you're young, you got to dress up more. You got to put on a suit. I can get by with shorts and tennis shoes, but because I've got enough gray hair. But if you ain't got enough gray hair, you got to dress up more. But anyway, the things we found out, if you get in that market and then you ask them, you get a 200 list. Is what I came up with. You get a 200 list. How you get 200? Well, I sit there and memory jog them in person right there at the place. And I know they got Facebook friends. Half them friends ain't friends, you know what I mean? And they'll do all that kind of stuff. You need to get to the real friends. And then when you get to the real friends, you find out, say, which ones are ambitious. Ambitious means not successful yet. That's a word, and it's a nugget, I'm telling y'all. It's a nugget how to get some people. And then when you get the ambitious person, so you go, Tom was ambitious. So I said, okay, we'll go see Tom first. And then I did the list of Tom. Then I said, who's ambitious? Jim. And then go with Jim. He says Joe. And go with Joe, and he said Mitchell. And it went to Mitchell, and he said Mike. Now don't get offended. I'm not doing this because I'm not doing this just to say it's men. This was back in the day when 95% of the business is men, and these people are going. I'm going to show you what it meant. Okay, and by doing that, you cause a fire at the bottom. Okay, if you ever notice you burn the fire, you have to burn it from the bottom. We just cleared a lot, had big trees, probably 30-foot tall fire, and probably 40-foot long. And the guy that was burning it knows what he's doing. He just kept getting the bottom burnt, the bottom, because you can't just do it on the top. Fire's got to go all the way up. So what you do, you build a fire down here, so you can have a dinner with them, and you work with Mike, and he get him to have 6 people coming to the meeting. So then you call Mitchell and tell him, hey, Mike's got 6 people coming to the meeting. You need to come meet them all, man. Then you go Joe, and you say, Joe, we got 6 people coming. He's got 6. We need to show up at the meeting. And then you call Jim, then you tell Tom. So all these guys are sitting there, and they're watching the one below, and they know it takes 3 people to go to district, right? Well, guess what? They're seeing their butt getting ready to be passed. And understand, these are best friends. They have similar interests, similar things. They do everything together, okay? You do all that stuff. And it actually gets you into the market. See, all these people, they're market. And what it did was the fire burn up. These you didn't have to worry about Joe going to class. You didn't have to beg Jim to go to class. You didn't have to train any of these people. They'll go figure it out, because they're not going to get passed up by their buddy down at the bottom. None of them. So by doing that, you built the fire at the bottom, okay? Well, let me show you what happened. This was me. Okay, this was Tom Cook. This was Jim Collins. This was Mitchell Holden. This was Mike Wooten, 4 deep. This was Don Baker. This was Bill Bigham. This was Rick Lyons. This was Gary Moore. This was Jamie Davis. This was David Williams. This was David Meade. This was his sister becoming RVP. RVP, NSD, RVP, SVP, SNSD, RVP, SVP. I think we figured up there's over 60 RVPs created out of that leg. One leg, 60. At one time, I had 3 legs. Kip created over 30 RVPs in 1 year out of one leg. That's the power of it. Because once you find one, there's another. But it's the key. It depends on what you want to be. See, we had that debt, but we were blessed because a little bit of business wouldn't have created it. It makes sense. We had to go bigger. And anyway, and this I had 3 legs 13 deep, and we produced 14. With the grace of God, we produced 14 first-generation RVPs in 2.5 years. And when we moved to Knoxville 3 years, we were doing $160,000 through first. That paid us $120,000. You know what it paid today? $1.4 million. That's how good the contracts got since. So understand, it is the what. I mean, if you want to create RVPs, I wasn't going to create reps. I was going to create RVPs. So that's what I was focused on. And I think if you focus in on, and it's okay. Does that make sense? There's all sorts of ways to make money. The bank don't care how you make the money. You don't have to make it this way. Nowadays, you can do it with clients. I mean, Brett Wooten's proved that, man. If you got enough clients, you can make tons of money. And it pays you every year, renew and renew. This pays you every year too, okay? But I'm just telling you, you can go either way. You ain't got to go this way. Does that make sense? But you can go the securities way. But I wouldn't fool with all that little trivial stuff we sell nowadays. There is no way I'd be focused in on, and you got to watch out for the trips. If you're focused in on your goal and you ain't had the trip and you're going to change your mind of what you're going to do just to hit the trip, don't do it. Don't do it. If you go hit your goal and you set your goal to go do this or do securities, you'll win every trip. We went on every trip for like 35 years, every one of them. It wasn't a thought. We just won them. You know what I mean? And I'm just telling you, this will make you a fortune. This will make you a fortune in your lifetime. And just make sure you tithe on your fortune. I mean, God, I'll talk to you 1 second about that. This little boy went up to the went up to the McDonald's, and his dad said, "Dad, will you buy me some French fries? Will you buy me some French fries?" He said, "Yeah, go sit down." I said, "I'll get some." And he goes back and sits down, and he hands them to the kid, and the kid says, and he said, Dad said, "Well, here, I want one or two." He said, "No, Dad, they're mine. They're mine." "No, they're not yours." He said, "I gave them to you." He said, "But they're mine. They're mine." See how we claim everything? All the money we claim is mine. John Templeton said you can't show him a successful or a person that's not financially stable if they tithe regularly. Said he knows in 15 years of him running Templeton Mutual Funds. He said, you can't show me a person that ain't financially successful money-wise to tithe. So anyway, tithe on your money. Don't just think it's all yours. But anyway, that's what I was going to tell you. You can create a wealth of RVPs. That's how you do it. Thank y'all.